Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time coming by, please don't forget to subscribe. If you're already subscribed, thank you again for watching. If you could give me a quick like on this video, it'd really help out, kind of help us bring content, help us improve the channel. And if you have any suggestions, anything you want to see, anything that you're seeing that you want to see more of, let me know. But today's video, I was wanting to do kind of a comparison between two kayaks in Hobie's lineup. They serve a similar purpose, but they're really meant for two different things. So the models I'm talking about here, right here, the orange, you see this is the Hobie Outback. The Hobie Outback is considered the best-selling pedal drive kayak on the market. So there's some other companies that make that claim. Hobie backs that up with the real data. It's kind of the shining star of the market. The reason that is it's a good multi-use kayak. And I'll get into that in a little bit. And then right here, another phenomenal kayak in that lineup is the Hobie Compass. So both of these kayaks are going to handle your narrow waterways really well. The Outback being a little bit more, in my opinion, a little bit more for some open water, a little bit better offshore maybe. It's a little bit longer as well and a little wider. So the purpose of these, they're both meant for, with kind of fishing in mind. The Compass would be a little bit more of a wreck kayak with the ability to fish from. Your Outback is going to be your stereotypical fishing ready kayak. I like both of these because they're not bad paddling boats either. Something happens with your drive, or if you're just in some narrow waterways where it's pretty shallow and you don't want your drive banging the bottom of the river, they both come with paddles. They're both designed to kind of cut through the water really nicely. So if you're familiar with Hobie's lineup here, you can see the Pro Angler here. Now the Pro Angler, that's a bit of the beast in the lineup. That's going to be your open water, your lakes, offshore, and it's huge, but that serves a purpose. So usually when someone comes in the store, usually the first questions we're asking is, what kind of water are you floating on? Is it rivers? Is it lakes? What is it going to be used for? Is you primarily going to be fishing? Do you just want to float? Do you want to float with maybe throwing a line or two in every now and then? And that's kind of directs us on where to go, because you can see there's a lot of different options out there, and there's a lot of good quality options, but some of these have specific uses they're designed for. So I'll start with the Outback here. The Outback, the retail $34.49 as of this video. It's 12 foot 9 inches, so a little bit under that 13 foot long, and 33 inches wide. So it's a pretty wide kayak. I wouldn't consider that huge, but 33 inches is about that magic number where you get your stability. It accommodates a little bit of a higher seat position, and it weighs 103 pounds. That's fully rigged up. Taking the seat and the drive off will drop that down a little bit. But you can see here, just looking at it, you've got the flush mount rod holders on the front and the back. The Compass has flush mount rod holders installed in the back. You've just got the two of them back there. Nice storage hatch here in the front. So it's not huge, but it's going to be good enough for some additional tackle gear, some dry bags. It's a great multi-day kayak as well, so camp gear, anything like that is going to fit in there. Got a really nice tackle storage here in the right by your seat, and it does have that little tub in there, so that'll hold your small items. That's a really great place to store your plastics. The Compass does have the open storage on top. It's got the mesh cover. That's great for stuffing stuff underneath there. That mesh cover with the bungee is going to hold tension on top of it to hold that gear in place. It's got a little bit more of a pointed nose and a little bit of a sharper keel. So you can see here the Outback is a little wider, so it comes in a little bit more rounded. Not quite. It's still got that point to it and that nice keel. We call it the icebreaker. Those big ships that have that really straightforward down keel that breaks that ice. But it's also a little bit more narrow, so you're getting about an inch and a half, less width on there. The seat sits down a little bit lower, so it accommodates that little bit more of a narrow. It's a little bit more rounded underneath too, so that is going to help you with your handling. Also, you have plenty of stability, so don't get me wrong. This is not a whitewater kayak. You're not gonna feel tippy. It's gonna be a little faster. So the benefit of that obviously is less work to go the same distance, and it's gonna be a little bit better on the arms and shoulders paddling it. So why would you paddle a pedal drive kayak? Well, if you're in a really shallow creek, or if you're going through a shallow part when you're drifting, sometimes it's good to bring your drive up. Also, if you're drifting, you have rudder controls on both of these. That allows you to control your drift. You can steer it while you're drifting down just with one hand. Both of these have rudder controls on the side. The Outback has rudder controls on both sides, as to where on the Compass you've got it here, it will be on the paddler's left side. So again, small thing, but depending on how you're using that can be a really big benefit there. Gear, so accessory mounting. You've got these little Mighty Mount style gear track here for your T-bolt accessories. Again, simple setup, just to throw something small on there. Your Outback, you've got quite a bit more going on here. So the Outback, if you're familiar with the Pro Angler, you got the H-rail system. So Hobie has their own accessories that clamp onto that H-rail. You can mount that on here. The cool thing about the Outback's H-rail is you do have the groove in the top for that T-bolt to go in and then to slide back and forth. You've also got gear track here that you can mount additional. And then also you got a nice little tackle box storage here in this little pocket here. Cool thing here is you got these little retractable bungees. So if you put your Plano boxes in there, you can run this over the top, and it gives you a bungee to hold that stuff down on, so it's secure. Also, you've got these little retractable lanyards, so if you're using forceps or needle nose pliers for hook removal, you can tie them down to that. And then that way, if you got a fish on, you're not fumbling around for your pliers in the deck of your kayak. You just pull them up, remove it, and then snap it back. You've also got the little cutouts here to have your needle nose pliers or forceps down in there, and some other tooling as well. Again, I like the engineering part of that, to where they're thinking outside the box a little bit, or you can tell the people that designed this maybe were anglers, or they have they do have pro staff fishing guys that help with the design. It's not just a bunch of lab coats in a room thinking up of stuff that never kayak. The cup holders on these I really like too. They're deep, so that is a really huge thing, where if you've got a tall tumbler, so think Yeti, the 30 plus ounce tumblers, they get kind of top heavy, and these deeper cup holders are going to hold that better without having to worry about it dumping over. You do have these little carry handles underneath the seat, so you remove the seat. That will help you rooftop it if that's what you're doing. Again, it's a heavy kayak. You can rooftop it. It does help you kind of get it up, maybe on a rooftop or maybe a multi-tiered trailer. These do come standard with the 180 drive. Right now, the only thing coming with the 360 drive is the Pro Angler. I'm not aware of anything in the works on this, but if you were going to do a 360 drive on another Hobie kayak, this would probably be the one they go with. But again, I love the 180 drive. It's a no-nonsense drive. It gives you that reverse option. A lot less things to go wrong also, if you're worried about that. But moving on to the back here, I told you about the rudder controls. You've got a really large rectangular tank well back here. You've also got additional gear track options for mounting. Like I said, I told you before about the flush mount rod holders on both sides here. They do sell a kit where you can convert this bungee into another H-rail setup. You can have a setup just like you do on the front back here. This is really good. Hobie sells the tackle crate. It's called the H crate, where it's a crate setup, and it's got H-rails around the top of it, and it fits perfectly in there. But anything like a Black Pack Pro, anything like that is going to fit. You've also got the 2 scupper holes in the tank well to prevent water from pooling up. You do have a little hatch cut out here. You can install the round hatch like you see on the back of the Pro Angler back there. Give you access or just small gear storage. And last but not least, you got your rear handle, which is also, there's a lot of different options. You can see the 4-bolt pattern for your micro power pole or your Torqeedo or trolling motor plate setup. And then you got your rudder wheel back here. This is where you can control your tension. You can adjust your tension if you got a little too much play in it as time goes on. Again, it's really easy to do. A Phillips head screwdriver and a little bit of time is all you need on that. Comparing that to the Compass, again, same rudder control. You do have this little T rope handle. I know a lot of you aren't a big fan of that on kayaks, but you are dealing with a lighter kayak with the Compass. So keep that in mind too. It's not 100 pounds that you're lugging around on that rope handle. But, you know, again, I'm the same way. I like those molded in handles. Tank well, a little smaller, but again, you're going to be carrying less gear typically with a Compass than you are with a kayak setup like the Outback. So, but I feel like it's completely adequate for the kayak though. Again, those rod holders in the back here. So the seat is a large difference. So the Outback seat, it's kind of a padded mesh seat. It does kind of adjust high and low a little bit. Not much, but just enough to where you're not sacrificing the performance of your kayak by sitting too high. The Compass, this year they've changed it for 2023. It's a little bit of a tighter mesh setup, and it is high-low. So you've got this little arm that folds underneath if you want to set it lower, or if you want to set it higher. It sets kind of loose on the deck, and you've got kind of an over bungee hook that secures it to the boat. The Outback, you've got this little clip that secures it to the boat as well as this little tower. And again, that's where you can raise the kayak up and down. The controls, if you like a little bit of a simpler kayak and not as many bells and whistles, again, I like the Compass for that reason. You've got the retractable cord. That is for your rudder. So your rudder goes up and down against the hull. On the Outback, you've got a little bit more going on. Again, a little bit more fishing specific. You do have the rudder that's retracted up. You've also got a retractable transducer mount underneath the seat, underneath the boat. So that'll raise your transducer up and down. You do have some through-hole wiring grommets there. So that allows you to run wiring through it, and it kind of creates that little rubber gasket seal around the wires. You've got those on both sides. And you've also got these little rubberized pockets. Again, that's good for your plastic storage, just small gear and tackle. And you've got a little bit of room underneath the seat there, not much. I've seen a lot of people kind of fabricate up, little Tupperware containers that can slide underneath there and hold additional gear. Again, there's a lot of things you can do with these kayaks. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. $34.49 as of this video on the Outback. The Compass, you're looking at about $2,500. So there's about $1,000 difference between the two. But you can see there's a lot of difference between the two of them too. So if you're looking to get out and just fish kind of casually, and depending on what kind of creeks and rivers you're on, that Compass is a phenomenal kayak. It's probably one of my favorites just because of the way it performs in the water with the paddle. The drive, it's the same exact drive, and you can switch them in between these two kayaks. So the drive is going to propel that one really nicely. It's going to cut through the water. If you have any problems or with the drive, or if you're in some really shallows, that paddle, you're not going to hate life paddling the Compass around. The Outback, it's going to perform it just as well also with a paddle. It's just not going to be as quick. Again, you're going to feel it a little bit more. It's a wider kayak. It's a heavier kayak. So you kind of expect that a little bit. But it's not going to be like paddling around the Pro Angler. The Pro Angler, the paddle is there just for emergencies. It's not something that you can take it on shallows, but you may hate life afterwards. Just saying that you're going to work a lot harder to move that through the water. It's not designed for rivers and creeks. I know people that take them on rivers and creeks, and they even say it's a beast to unload. That's where these fit in. So these are going to really kind of shine in both types of water. One of my guys that works here, he has a Compass. He runs a sail on it. There's a lot of options you can do with Hobie. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video helps you out. If you have any additional questions, let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, helps us grow it out a little bit. But anyways, without further ado, I will see you guys later. Thanks again.